Actually gonna have them for a while tonight, so tomorrow I'll be exhausted.
Oh, you're watching them?
Yeah, I don't usually do it during the week because I'm too old. And I always have so much work to do, but I need it tonight, so I'm gonna do it. All right, here we go. Problem G. We are gonna solve this equation. Now, I really want you to focus here, guys. I mean, I always want you to focus, but we are gonna hit the last section, 3.6, is all word problems. And every one of them is gonna involve an equation that looks like something like this, okay? So we really need to know how to solve these equations. All right, so let's look at this carefully. Remember, E is just a number, so we're not gonna be confused by it.
Interruption, just, Deshaun Lewis, I believe, left his lights on.
Oh, okay. Do you want me to go turn them off? I guess you're supposed to go turn them off. Hurry up. All right, so what's step one?
Add long.
No, not yet. What is always step one? We ran into this yesterday. Divide by 50. The first thing we gotta do, guys, is get rid of this number. Whether it's a logarithm equation or an exponential, these are exponentials, we need to get rid of that number. So e to the negative 0.112x equals, now, normally I would say don't even reduce this, but that one reduces so nicely. What's 200 divided by 50? 4. 4, yeah. So go ahead and reduce it. Now, if it doesn't reduce, we talked about this yesterday, we can leave a fraction, but that one works so nicely. Now, somebody said put a log on both sides. Now I do that. But since the problem has an e in it, let's ln both sides. So here I am, I'm just sticking an ln on both sides. Now, what is the absolute magnificent beauty of that? These cancel. That's why we do it. So what's left on this side? Negative 0.112x equal to ln 4. Now we're solving for x. That's our job, figure out what x is. So what are we gonna do? Well, we're definitely gonna put it in the calculator, but we're gonna go ahead and divide by negative 0.112. So what am I putting into the calculator? ln 4, close parentheses, divided by negative 0.112. Let's round to the nearest 4 decimal places, 10,000. I got negative 12.3776. Did anybody else get that?
Yeah.
Everybody good? Okay, next. Step 1. Divide by 3. Now, this is one where 19 doesn't divide by 3, so I'm just going to leave it. Okay, don't worry, it's going to be fine. Just leave it. Now what?
Put the ln.
I need to log both sides. I'm going to choose ln because, again, my problem has an e. If you want to log, go right ahead. But this is cooler because that will cancel. And we have 0.17x equal to ln 19/3. They're inverses of each other. They just do, okay? Always. And ln and e next to each other will always cancel. Yep, indeed. Very good, Jack. Very good. All right, now what's x? What am I going to do? What's x? Divide by 0.17 So this is what I'm gonna type into my calculator. Easy, easy, just make sure you close those parentheses. So, bless you. ln 19 divided by 3, close parentheses, divided by 0.17. What'd you get? 10.8578. Okay, everybody? All right. Now, part 4 is just a N5, it looks like, or just a ton of logarithm equations. So, these ones that I'm erasing that we started yesterday, we actually put the logs into the equation. Here it's already there. So I need somebody to get me pointed in the right direction. What? Divide the 2. I'm eventually gonna divide the 2. What might I do first? Subtract the 3. How about we get rid of this guy? Now that's gonna leave us with negative 2 on base 6x plus 2 equal to 2. Oh, no, this isn't distribute ever. Never gonna distribute. They said we're gonna do what Jared suggested. Now I'm gonna divide this number out. And when I divide it out, this part doesn't change. So this is log base 6, x plus 2 equals negative 1. Is that okay with everybody? Right now what? You did this part on your quiz.
Would be 6 to the negative 1.
Yes, we log roll it, that's exactly right, Kate, we log roll it, so 6 to the negative first equals x plus 2. What does 6 to the negative first mean? 1 over 6. So now what do I do? Subtract the 2. Now, it's up to you. If you are comfortable doing that, that's gonna be the quickest way. If you are comfortable with it. So you're gonna have x equal to 1/6 minus 2. What is 1/6 minus 2?
Negative 12.
Well, this is 12/6. So yeah, so negative 11/6, that's your answer. Now, I can tell right now that some of you just are struggling. So let's go back to this equation where we had 1/6 equals x plus 2. Can I multiply everything by 6? And then I don't have to deal with the fractions, but you do have to multiply everything by 6. Then you subtract 12 and divide. Okay? Having fraction phobia is not an excuse. What you're gonna have to do if you don't wanna deal with the fraction, then get rid of it. Okay? All right, let's look at the next one. Okay, take a look at it now. Think about solving this equation. What seems like the right thing to do to get started?
5 by 3.
Now dividing by 3 is okay, but remember, you're gonna divide everything by 3. I think there's something easier to do. It's kind of like this one. Before we do that division, we get rid of this extra number. So maybe before we divide, we should add 2. I don't want it coming back to Jack's point, I don't want anybody to get confused. This is not this. Okay, this is different than this. If this is what I had, then I wouldn't be able to add 2, because it's inside the parentheses. But that isn't what I have here. So I'm gonna add 2 first, then I'm gonna divide by 3. Now what? Roll it? Oh, wait a second, there's no base. E, there is an E, it's not 10.
Not 10.
No, 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 no. When is it 10?
It was 10 on the test, right?
I don't know. It
Yeah.
depends what you saw. If you have LOG,
Yeah.
then it's 10. But if we have LN, then it's E. So E to the second equals X, and that's done. Remember, E can be left as E. So E squared is your answer. Okay? All right. What now? Now look at it, think about the ones we've already done.
We added 2 first.
Subtract 2?
Yeah.
Yeah, so, because we want to move this 2, right? So we're gonna have to subtract it. So negative log x plus 1 equals 2. That's not good, right? So we're gonna divide by negative 1.
When did it become?
Wait, that was
zero?
Oh, it didn't.
Oh, okay.
It was just magic.
Yeah.
It's called being 64. All right, now what?
Added 10 and roll.
Yeah, we're gonna add a 10 and roll it. That's exactly right. So here we go. This one, Josh, is log base 10?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it is. So 10 to the negative second equals x plus 1. What's 10 to the negative second? 1 over 100? 1 over 10 squared? So this is 1 over 100 equals x plus 1. Now we're exactly where we were a minute ago. Basically what you gotta do is subtract 1. But if you don't wanna deal with a fraction, then you're gonna times everything by 100. Right, if you don't wanna deal with it. So negative 99 equals 100x, and x equals negative 99 over 100. All right, I think you're ready to try one on your own. Can you try that one on your own? Think about what you're gonna do to solve that. Louis, what did you do first? I want to make sure everybody's starting right. What did you do first? Yeah, divide by 5. Did everybody divide by 5? This one doesn't have like this extra number to move, so we're just going to start by dividing by 5. So hopefully everybody is at this point, right? So I'm gonna give you 30 seconds to think about what happens next if you haven't already. Jack, what do you think?
I wanna know if I did miss that or not because of that, I was the whole thing wrong, but I put in a 10 after the LOG and then it
So
crossed
this,
out.
there's a 10 here, right?
It doesn't cross out.
No.
You're gonna make a great guys.
No, you gotta be careful.
You're gonna make a great
When you have, so L and E cancels out. L and, log base E does not. So when you have an L and E, this is not log 10. If it's log 10, not log base 10, but log of 10, that's when it cancels. Well, but we do wanna put that 10 in there. We definitely wanna put that 10 in there.
Okay.
And then what?
10.
10 to the second equals 2x. 10 to the second is 100. Divided by 2 is 50. Now, how many of you got 50 without us doing that? You got it all by yourself. Almost everybody. That's wonderful. Good, good, good. All right, I think the next one's pretty easy too. When you look at it carefully though and think about what is your way to start. Now look at it. What are you gonna do, Josh?
I don't know. I think,
Why are you back there going like this if you don't know?
cause I'm like, kinda scared you're gonna
Okay,
get
well
mad if I
then-
get it wrong.
Well, go ahead and say something.
Would you subtract 1?
Yes, yes. You're gonna subtract 1 first. So 3 log base 2 of x equals 6. I don't get mad unless you say goofy things. Like the base of ln is 10. No.
I got it.
All right, now what? Divide by 3. And then this could have been on your quiz. You had questions like this on your quiz. We log roll it. So 2 to the second equals x, and the answer is 4. F. Do F. Now, don't be alarmed if you can't, oh, is there a base in there?
Yeah, you forgot.
Don't be alarmed if you can't simplify, that's okay. That's okay. Is this what you ended up with? So first I added 3, then I divided by 2, then I logged it. And in other problems we've done, this has been like 3 to the second or something, where we did 7 halves. That's it. All right, number 5, A.
Just go ahead and roll it.
What'd you say?
Log roll it.
Yeah, we just start by rolling it. There's nothing to move, is there? So 3 to the second equals 5x plus 7. What's 3 to the second? 9. Subtract 7. I got 2/5 as my answer.
Oh, look.
Is that right? That didn't seem too bad at all. Now, here's where things get interesting. what is different about this problem? There's two logs. Now, you cannot, I cannot, no one can, do a logarithmic equation that has two logs on the same side. Think about it. All of these problems we've been doing, haven't we log rolled? You can't log roll if you got log and log, okay? That's not possible. So we have to somehow put these two together into one logarithm. We actually did this a few days ago.
Would it be something to do with multiple?
Yes! We're gonna multiply. Because see that right there? What did we learn? When we add logarithms, we multiply the numbers. We had a property that said you have log m plus log n. You are going to multiply the m and the n. That's the property that we practiced. So these two guys are going to get multiplied. Right here. I'm going to take the two logs, I'm going to write them as one log, and I'm going to do that by multiplying x times x minus 3. So this is going to be x squared minus 3x. I'm multiplying when I take a log plus a log and put them together into one. You always got to put them together into one. You're going to multiply. Now, what if that had been a minus?
The what?
Then it would go together as a division here. This would be a divide. All right, so now I've taken my two logs and I put them together into one. I'm going to put a 10 in here. So 10 to the first equals x squared minus 3x. The fun never ends here. We already do that. Subtract the 10 over, because what we have here, 10 to the first is just 10. What we have here is a little quadratic equation. What do I do with that? Factor it if it factors, and I think that one does. Or we can use the quadratic formula. How does it factor? Anybody see? X plus 2 minus 5, she says. Let me double check that. Yep, she's right. So what does that mean? X either equals negative 2 or x equals 5? Well, I wasn't kidding when I said the fun never ends, because it's not over yet. This guy right here is extraneous. And he's extraneous because if I go back to my original problem and I put in negative 2 right here, what happens when you press log negative 2 on your calculator? You get an error. Because what did we say? You can't take the logarithm of a negative number. Can't do it. So even though that came out to be negative 2, it can't be negative 2. Oh my gosh. That was a lot. Question C. Is almost exactly the same thing. Very, very close. So I want you to try duplicating the steps and see if you can get that one figured out. So what are you gonna have to do first? Exactly. Everybody in the whole wide world that does this problem is going to start by smushing these together. You can't have two logarithms. You can only have one. So you're gonna put them together. And that is still a plus, which means when I put them together, it's going to be a multiply. Right? Remember, when you put a plus together, you end up multiplying. So x squared plus 3x this time. Now can we log roll it? So 10 to the first equals x squared plus 3x. Then what?
You
Subtract the 10. And I think this is gonna factor almost identically, except what?
The signs are different.
Yeah, it's gonna be x plus 5 minus 2 this time. Which means my answers are -5 and 2. But what about that -5? Can we have a -5 here in this problem? Oop, so we throw that one out. And the answer is just 2. Because if you ever brought a calculator in practice with us, yeah. You're doomed. You are doomed, because everything we do with now going forward is gonna be with the calculator. You gotta bring it. All right. D, question D, I wanna throw it out. It's way too messy. So we're not gonna do D, just cross it off. I didn't plan very well, and just cross it off. And let's look at step 1.
Gotta combine them.
Gotta combine them, thanks Josh. And, see this right here, Josh? That tells me when I combine them, it's going to be a
Multiplication.
multiply.
Yeah.
So I need to multiply x plus 4 times x minus 4. These two things get multiplied because of that plus. What is x plus 4 times x minus 4? X squared minus 16. That's a FOIL. So, what do I do now? 5 to the second equals x squared minus 16. What's 5 to the second? 25. Yeah, there's different ways you can solve this, but could I add 16 to both sides? And then what would I do? Square root. So x equals plus or minus root 41, but I don't think it can be negative. Here, it can be negative here. So I'm gonna get rid of that negative, and the answer's just the square root of 41. Mine is cut off. Is yours cut off? All right, I'm just gonna say x minus 2. I'm just gonna make something up. Oh my gosh. Look at this problem. What about it? There's 3 logs. Now here's the rule. You can't have more than one on a side. So I'm not gonna worry about him. But these two have got to be combined. Yep. So this is gonna become one logarithm. And what is it gonna be in the parentheses here? I'm putting these two together and it's a plus. So what am I gonna put here? 4x. And you're not gonna log rule this. You can only log rule if you got a number over here, so you can do 5 to the second power. I want you to use your common sense on that though. If the log base 3 of this is exactly the same as the log base 3 of this, what do you think? Don't these two have to be equal? So if you have a log on both sides, you can ignore it. Remember yesterday when we had like 3 to the 2x equals 3 to the x plus 1, something like that? What were we allowed to do? When these two were the same, then we just focused on the exponents. So guess what? When these two are the same, we're just gonna focus on what's in the parentheses. So 4x equals x minus 2. So 3x equals negative 2, and x equals negative 2/3.
We can't have negative.
You're right, that's extraneous. Because you can't put it right here. If you put it right here, you'd be taking the log of the negative. You can't.
So there's no answer.
No answer to that question, empty set. Now, who knows what the original problem was, but my made up problem there, no answer.
So,
All right, look at the next one. For the first time today, I have a minus. Now, that doesn't fundamentally change anything, but when I go to put these together now,
Just divide.
that's gonna become a division. So it's gonna be, oops, there went my Darth Vader turkey. When I put them together, it's going to be 2x over 3. Now take a look at that, guys, and make sure you get that. Make sure you understand why I put it together as a division. Everybody good? Okay, now, look at what you've got. You got the log base 7 of this. Oh. Equal to the log base 7 of this. So what am I gonna say? 2x over 3 equals 5. So 2x equals 15, and x equals 15 halves. Quit yawning, we have one more to go. Last one. Who can put this together for me? These two have got to go together. You cannot have two logarithms on the same side, ever.
and we do the x,
So what will it be, Kate?
do the x.
3 over x. Everybody good with 3 over x? If that had been a plus, then it would be 3 times x. Now, we have a log base 13 equal to a log base 13. So 3 over x equals 12. Again, don't panic, get rid of the fraction. Times by x. And then divide by 12. So it looks like x is what? 1/4. 3 over 12. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. 3-5 homework is due on Thursday.